This amendment is in line with the reforms that you are advocating for, Madam Speaker, having to do with a stricter code of ethics, having to do with a stricter standard for members of this honorable House. And I commend you, Madam Speaker, for your efforts in making sure that this House is kept to the highest of standards. Now, Madam Speaker, after this bill was first introduced in the House, there was a period for objections and comments to come before the House committee, what the constitutional lawyers like to call a cooling off period. Well, normally the cooling off period is 90 days, but in this instant, it actually lasted much longer than that. It lasted for a couple of years, Madam Speaker, for Belizean public to send in their comments, to send in their objections, to raise any matters that they had with this particular amendment. Madam Speaker, there were only 2 such comments sent in. One of them had to do with on a personal nature with the leader of the opposition, so I don't need to raise that today. The second one, and it is a valid point raised by Mr. Caleb Orozco, and it's something that we should look at, I believe, that if the act is something that would not have resulted in a term of imprisonment in Belize, but it had happened in another country, and I'll go into the details, Madam Speaker, in terms of the sections being amended. But if this act had happened in another country and it resulted in a term of imprisonment, but it would not have resulted in a term of imprisonment in Belize, then, Madam Speaker, certainly this amendment should not apply. This disqualification should not apply because there are some countries that still have discriminatory legislation, statutes on their books, actions that are not criminal in Belize, and we certainly don't want it to be discriminatory in the way that this amendment is applied.